Hi guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through my round 1 tips for the AFL season, as it is only a couple days away now. And so I'll also link in the description the AFL fantasy tipping that I'll run this year, and that'll be through ESPN Footy Tips, and we'll see how everyone goes each week. And yeah, so before we get stuck into the video, remember to like and subscribe, as this is another video coming out with, I guess, almost a community type project that will run throughout the whole season, as I get you guys involved in the channel a little bit by just seeing how you guys tip, and how most of you will probably end up being better tippers than me, because I seem to not be able to tip well initially and then try and force results, I guess, to try and catch up in the future. So let's go on to this screen here. I've got my tipping. I'll move my camera over here and I'll make it a little bit larger. There we go. That should do better. So initially, in this game, Richmond versus Carlton, I think, what did I put for my ladder prediction? This is going to be bad, but I think these two, from memory, was roughly the same in the ladder prediction, so it's going to be a tight game. I would probably tip Carlton if it was full strength, but you have to remember that Sam Walsh is out, and that takes a huge hit to the Carlton midfield, sorry, as well as you have Williams out, which means that a rookie might play for them. So in the end, I'm going to tip Richmond by 20 points. Okay. And then next up, we have Geelong versus Collingwood. And I think Geelong, even though it's early season, I think they just turn up and they beat Collingwood here. I don't think Collingwood had a good preseason game against Hawthorn, where they almost lost to the Hawks. And I do think that you will see Nick Dacos tagged out of this game, and you'll see Geelong just run through, and Paddy Dangerfield to have probably a best on ground performance. So I have Geelong winning by 3 kicks. And then you have the big grudge match of the round 1 with North Melbourne versus West Coast. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even know if I'll watch this game aside from looking at the rookie scores, because I don't think it'll be too interesting. It'll be who's going to be worse. And I just think with West Coast's experience, I'm actually going to quickly look something up. Nick Nat injury, and just see if he's fit. Oh. I don't know if Nick Nat's... He's in doubt for round 1. Okay, well, that makes it even more interesting. But I do think that West Coast, with their returning players, probably just is a class above. And for that reason, I'm going to go them by 13 points. Then you got Port versus Brisbane, which should be a really good game. It's, I think, a question whether Ken Hinkley survives this year, survives till the end of the year, then gets sacked, or goes early, will be a question of how they start again. Because if they start even 0-3, 0-4, he's done. There's no way they're going to keep him there because they deserve to be in and around the 8, and you just cannot be starting 0-3, 0-4. And I think for that... And I just think with the inclusions of, on Brisbane's sides, you'll see a best on ground performance from Brisbane, and that'll be one of the reasons why Brisbane win it, I guess, in the end. And I think they'll win it, even though it's at Adelaide Oval. I think they'll win it by 23 points. So next up, you have Melbourne versus the Bulldogs, and I don't think there's much debate about this one. I think Melbourne run away winners pretty convincingly in this one. I don't think Western Bulldogs looked good against who they played, North Melbourne, but Melbourne looked even better against Richmond, so I just think Melbourne win this by 30 odd points. And then you've got here the Gold Coast versus Swans game, and surprisingly, it's a 91% 9% split on ESPN Footy Tipping. I think it'll be a little bit closer than that, especially with Tom Hickey out, and Laddams could do Laddams types things, so we may actually have no ruckman after about half time, so that doesn't help. I do think is Tukes, I don't think in doubt for round one anymore. So that might change how that ends up if he does actually end up out. But I do think the Swans win a close one by 7 points, I think. So next up we have GWS versus Adelaide, and I think Adelaide's just a little bit better than GWS. I know GWS is at home, and I haven't really taken home field advantage into conversation, but I actually think Adelaide's going to do really well here. They're going to get that really fast start that I think they'll get that really fast start in the rounds here, especially because who do they play round 2? They play Richmond round 2. They might lose that game. Then who do they play round 3? They play Port. They'll probably win that game. And then they play Freo. So they're probably going to be 2-2. And then they play Carlton. Oh, they have a really tough start. Then they play Hawks. So they'll be 3-3. Then they play Collingwood. So they have a really tough start. They're probably going to be 3-5. And they play St Kilda, so that's when they should catch it back up. But I just think that Adelaide will overcome GWS, and I do think that Roy Laird will put a best on ground performance in, and you'll see them run out winners here by 16 points. Then you got Hawthorn versus Essendon, and I think Hawthorn just don't turn up in this game, to be honest. And I think Essendon run away 14-point winners. There's not much really to talk about here. I think Essendon's just probably the better outfit this year, even though it'll probably be only a game or two difference. But I just think Hawthorn's pretty close to being the Wooden Spooners, and I think they'll lose this game by 17 points. And then you got the St Kilda versus Freo game to end the round. And even though it's at Docklands again, I'm going for another away team upset. And I think that Freo is going to win this by 27 points or so. So there's the ladder after round one, as I've predicted. And if you look here, you'll see that Sydney's the team that's unlucky to miss out on the 8 as of the end of round 1, as I think just due to their ruck department, I think that's the reason why that game will be close. And I have Western Bulldogs being the really bad losers in round 1, just due to them playing Melbourne. So that's my tips and the ladder position I have for round 1. If I go back to the main screen. So that's the tipping right there and then. And I'll put that tipping comp in the description so that you can sign up for it. And yeah, that's my video done. There'll be other playlists up in the corners to help you navigate some other videos on my channel. And we will, I'll see you guys back in another video sometime soon. Thanks guys. Goodbye.